Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Katie spies Bill and Brooke kissing, heartbroken to be proven right. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that Katie Logan, Heather Tom, may be glad she rejected Bill Spencer, Don Diamond, if he behaves how she expects him to. Katie doesn't trust that she's the only woman for Bill, since he's always been so drawn to Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang. The last thing Katie wants is to surrender her heart to Bill again and let him break it for the umpteenth time. Even Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, has urged Katie to protect herself here, so it's easy to see why Katie shut Bill down. Although Bill called Katie the love of his life, she's not sure she buys that. Katie clearly feels like there's a good chance Bill would be back together with Brooke if she weren't locked into a Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K. romance. As luck would have it, Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, is back in town and pulling Ridge in her direction. It may not be long until Taylor's presence and broken heart syndrome blow up Ridge's relationship with Brooke. It seems likely Brooke will lean on Bill after losing Ridge, so that could lead to Katie getting an eyeful. At some point, Katie could easily walk in Bill's mansion and spy him kissing Brooke. If that happens, Katie will no doubt feel like her suspicions about Bill secretly wanting Brooke were proven right. This could leave Katie feeling grateful that she didn't sign up for a reunion with Bill and furious that he even tried to get back together with her. Katie may view this as proof that she's just her sister's stand-in and face some heartbreak as a result. Sometimes the truth hurts, so that may be the case for Katie if it all goes down like this. Our B&B predictions point to Bill and Brooke's bond becoming more powerful in the coming weeks, so stick with us for updates on whether that'll lead to a romantic rekindling. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Brooke is always going to be a source of temptation for Bill, so bad news could be brewing if Katie spies a passionate moment between them. Katie Logan had always been a woman of strength and resilience. She had endured enough heartbreak over the years, but this time, she thought things were different. Bill Spencer, the man she had loved so deeply, had promised her the world, promised her that he was done with Brooke Logan, her sister, and that their complicated triangle was finally a thing of the past. Katie wanted to believe him. She needed to believe him. But a nagging feeling deep in her gut had kept her from fully letting go of her fears. And now, standing outside Bill's office at Spencer Publications, Katie felt the cold sting of those fears being realized in the worst way possible. She hadn't meant to be there. She hadn't meant to overhear anything. But when she saw Bill and Brooke through the slightly ajar door, locked in a passionate embrace, her world stopped. Her heart shattered into a million pieces as the scene unfolded before her eyes. Bill's arms around Brooke, his lips pressed against hers, a kiss that seemed to shatter all the promises he had made to her. Katie's breath hitched and she stumbled back, almost tripping over her own feet as she tried to escape the scene without being seen. She pressed a hand to her mouth, trying to stifle the sob that was building in her chest. Her heart, already fragile, felt like it was being ripped apart in the cruelest way possible. Why? Why did it have to be Brooke? She had tried so hard to believe that Bill had changed, that he could resist the pull of her sister, that their love, her love, was enough to keep him loyal. But deep down, hadn't she always known that Brooke would somehow find her way back into Bill's heart? The connection between them had always been magnetic, impossible to deny, and impossible for Katie to compete with. And now, here she was, heartbroken and proven right. Katie stepped into the hallway, her body trembling with a mixture of anger and sorrow. She wasn't sure how long she stood there, but every passing second felt like a painful eternity. Her mind was racing, flashing through memories of every promise Bill had made, every tearful plea for another chance. He had sworn up and down that Brooke was a part of his past, a temptation he had conquered for the sake of their family. But clearly, Bill's words had meant nothing. She had always been second in his heart when it came to Brooke, hadn't she? It didn't matter how much he professed his love for her or their son. When push came to shove, it was always Brooke who pulled him in, like a moth to a flame. Katie's hands clenched into fists at her sides as the reality of the situation washed over her. She felt sick to her stomach, knowing that Brooke, her own sister, had once again crossed a line that should never have been breached. Katie had forgiven her time and time again, but this was the final straw. There was no coming back from this betrayal, not for Bill and certainly not for Brooke. As she took the shaky breath, she thought about the next steps. Confronting them both was inevitable, but what would it achieve? They'd deny it, no doubt, or worse, they'd admit it, and she'd be left standing there, feeling even more foolish for believing either of them in the first place. Katie knew she couldn't walk away this time, not quietly, not gracefully, not without making it known just how deeply they had hurt her. She had spent too long being the understanding one, the patient one, the woman who always gave others the benefit of the doubt. But today, that Katie was gone. The betrayal she had just witnessed had awoken something fierce inside her, a fire that had been simmering for too long. She straightened up, wiping at the straight hair that had escaped down her cheek, and began marching back toward the office. If Bill and Brooke thought they could sneak around behind her back, they were about to be proven wrong. The door to Bill's office came into view again, and with every step, her resolve hardened. Just as her hand hovered over the doorknob, she heard voices inside, muffled but clear enough. She paused, her pulse quickening as she eavesdropped on their conversation. "We can't keep doing this, Bill." Brooke's voice trembled with guilt. "It's wrong. I don't want to hurt Kitty again." Bill's sigh was heavy, but his words were no less damning. I know, Brooke, but this thing between us, it never really goes away, does it? You know how I feel about you." Katie's breath caught in her throat. The confirmation she hadn't wanted to hear, but had known all along. They were acknowledging it, their inability to stay away from each other, no matter the consequences, no matter how much it shattered her heart. The anger surged back with a vengeance. Enough was enough. Without thinking twice, Katie shoved the door open with a force that startled them both. Bill and Brooke sprang apart like guilty teenagers caught in the act, their wide eyes locking onto Katie as if they had seen a ghost. Brooke's face flushed with shame, and Bill's expression shifted from shock to something resembling remorse. But it was too late for either of them to try and explain their way out of this one. "Katie," Bill began, his voice low, but she cut him off with a sharp, icy glare. "Don't," she snapped, her voice trembling with barely restrained fury. "Don't you dare try to explain this. I saw everything. I heard everything." Brooke opened her mouth to speak, but Katie silenced her with a single searing look. "You, of all people. Again, Brooke, how many times? How many times do I have to forgive you before you stop stabbing me in the back?" Tears welled up in Brooke's eyes, but Katie didn't care. The betrayal was too raw, too deep. She turned her attention back to Bill, the man who had claimed to love her, yet always seemed to find his way back into her sister's arms. "You told me you were done with her," Katie said, her voice cracking. "You promised me, Bill, and like a fool, I believed you." Bill stepped forward, his face etched with regret, but Katie held up a hand to stop him. I don't want to hear your excuses. I'm done being lied to. I'm done being second best to her." Katie's voice hardened as she took a step back, her resolve firm. "I'm done with both of you." And with that, she turned and walked away, leaving them both in stunned silence. Katie had been heartbroken before, but this time she wouldn't break. She would rise from this betrayal stronger than ever, because she deserved better.